Welcome back to the Greater You. Good to see you today. Today's topic is a very near and dear topic to me. I love this topic. It's a powerful topic that there's a lot to be thought about and talked about on this topic. The topic is deep accountability. Accountability is an interesting place to think about. Now, when we talk about deep accountability right out of the starting gate, what we're not talking about is people being self-abusive. We're not talking about that guilt and shame thing of a person beating themselves up for every little thing they do. That's actually not what we're talking about at all with deep accountability. As you see today, when we talk about this, you'll learn that deep accountability is actually freeing from all that kind of thing. It's a solution, though, to a huge problem we have in our societies, and it's just really part of the human condition, which is what we call the blame trap. Here at the Greater You, we call this the blame trap. What is the blame trap? So the blame trap is a tendency that sometimes people will fall into to look for constant people to blame for how they're feeling, thinking. It's chronic victim thinking is what the blame trap is. It has a tendency to trap a person in these feelings of, the world's not doing right by me, and it creates a lot of negativity and pessimism in the person and really keeps them trapped. That's why we call it a trap. Okay. So it does lead to chronic victim thinking. It can be caused by chronic victim thinking. And it does also remove accountability. It removes the ability to act. It makes us feel stuck when we're in the blame trap. If I blame someone for cutting me off on the road and I'm railing and yelling and shaking my fist at this person who cut me off on the road, I'm giving all of my power away. And there's not really anything I can do about it. Like, I can't control that person, and I don't know why they cut me off, right? But I'm over here getting angry and thinking that they need to stop doing what they're doing, right? Well, it kind of removes my ability to change anything because I'm focused on them instead of focused on what I actually have control over, which is myself and my own life and my own thoughts, my own emotions. So the blame trap causes suffering. It causes us to feel miserable. When we're in a place of blame, I think about times when I've been in the blame trap. All of us, I think all human beings have spent a fair amount of time in the blame trap here and there in life. And if we're in a place of blame, it causes so much suffering to us, undue suffering. So think about that. The suffering that is caused by staying in a place of blame. It stymies our growth too, doesn't it? Slows us down from being able to grow, stops us from growth. I don't think we can really be in a place of blame and accountability simultaneously. I think those are two different mindsets and they don't really lead to each other. So what is the solution to this blame trap? How do we get out of it? Well, deep accountability is the answer to that. Deep accountability is a deep sense of owning what's going on in our lives. It's owning our thoughts, owning our intentions. That's a big one. Owning our emotions, owning our decisions, owning our actions, our behaviors, owning our attitudes. So deep accountability is really owning our stuff, being aware of our stuff, and owning what is it that I'm doing in this situation that's causing this conflict, right? It invites growth. Guys, it is uncomfortable. Holy moly. When we're in a place of deep accountability, it's a growth place. So we're not going to be comfortable when we're being deeply accountable. It does invite growth and it does cause us to look inward, and it actually can help end conflict. If I'm in a conversation with someone, I get into an argument with someone at work or something, and I work deep accountability, I'm going to be owning my part of that, which could lead me to making amends or apologizing or letting that person know, like, hey, really shouldn't have raised my voice. That's on me. That's mine. I'm going to own that was me being, emotionally upset. So it does have a tendency to heal relationships and remove conflict and conflict. It certainly invites problem solving. So remember that deep accountability isn't self-shaming. It's not loading ourselves up with guilt, and it's definitely not loading other people up with guilt and shame either. That's the blame trap. When we're working deep accountability, we're looking at it more like a growth mindset thing of what is it I can do differently here? What did I do to add to this difficulty? What is it that I can learn from this experience that I just went through? So we're looking backwards at our mistakes or our challenges or whatever, and we're inviting learning into our lives by being accountable, right? In martial arts, there's this thing we call the range of effectiveness. If you're in an actual physical conflict and a person's too far away from you, there's nothing you can do, right? But when they're in close, those of us that have been trained in grappling and joint locks and all that stuff, if a person's in close, you can do things to stop conflict. You have to be in that range of effectiveness, right? Fortunately, we're talking about more relational type of stuff here. And emotionally and relationally, if we do the same thing, if we own our stuff, we can look inward and say, hey, this is what's going on with me, and this is what I need to do to be a better version of myself for you, right? So that's adding that growth mindset in there. This has nothing to do with shaming yourself. Shame actually is a form of the blame trap that is self-blame. So it's the opposite of accountability, because you're beating yourself up. You're like Dobby from Harry Potter, beating yourself against the wardrobe because you said something wrong. That doesn't invite change or growth, right? So people that live in a state of deep accountability are just easier to be around. It's a great benefit of being an accountable person because they tend to be more honest with themselves than others. They tend to be more clear in their speech. People that work with deep accountability are quick to apologize when they make a mistake, and they're also open to communicate when the things have gone sideways in conversations or relationships or in work situations or projects. So deep accountability is a great solution for, I believe, for inviting happiness and growth into our lives. It helps us to become more aware of ourselves and able to function in a growth mindset more regularly. So please avoid all forms of blame, blaming others, blaming yourself, blame. It's a trap, people. Get out of that trap by being accountable and inviting growth mindset into your life by saying, what can I do? Asking yourself those key questions. What can I learn from this experience to become a better version of myself? What is it I can do to communicate more effectively with the people I'm working with? Those growth-oriented questions invite that deep accountability, and they invite action. So give this one a thought, give it a try. I highly recommend experimenting with accountability. Think about areas in your life where you've been dodging some accountability. Maybe there's a conversation you haven't had, an apology you need to make to, someone that's been close to you, haven't talked in a while. There could be like a work scenario going on that, you know that you're kind of off, and maybe no one at work has detected it yet. Go talk to your team, own it. And you'll find that you earn their respect because they're like, wow, man, my boss is like owning stuff that we didn't even catch. Whatever it is, if it's in personal life, romantic relationships, friendships, or professional life, whatever, try the accountability, that deep accountability out. It's a wonderful tool. Have a wonderful evening, and it's good talking to you today. Thank you.